Hello guys on Voice of Betrayal, where every lie has a voice. My name is Sam Riley. I built my first company in a garage at 22, sold it at 27, and by 35, I had over $50 million in assets spread across 3 tech firms, 2 real estate portfolios, and a private investment fund. I was the definition of the American dream, at least on paper. But success has a blind spot. It makes you think you're untouchable. And that's exactly when they strike. Her name was Emily. We met at a charity gala in San Francisco, a fundraiser for mental health awareness. She was standing by the bar, wearing a deep green silk dress and holding a glass of something clear. I remember the way she laughed, like she was tired of being watched but had grown used to it. A former model from Chicago, Emily had a subtle magnetism, the kind that made people lean in when she spoke. She wasn't loud, but she didn't have to be. Her silence made people curious. I was hooked from the first moment. Within a year, we were married. Private ceremony. Clifftop in Big Sur. Just a few close friends and family. My best friend and COO, Marcus, was my best man. My mother cried during the vows. Emily didn't, but she smiled in a way that made me think everything was perfect. For a while, it was. We lived in a modern, glass-wrapped house on the edge of Napa Valley. She spent her days working with charities, designing luxury interiors for friends, and posting curated moments to social media. I traveled. Meetings in Tokyo, Zurich, London. We stayed connected through texts and FaceTimes. Or so I thought. Then came the signs. Quiet, nearly invisible, but not to me. She stopped asking about my work. Got strangely defensive when I'd mention finances. One night, I found a bank transfer for $45,000 to a consulting agency I'd never heard of. She said it was for a friend's startup. I believed her. That was my mistake. But the biggest red flag came from Marcus. We were having whiskey at the Line Hotel rooftop in LA, watching planes slice across the sky. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Sure. It's probably nothing. But I saw Emily having lunch last week. With Daniel. Just them. Looked intimate. Daniel Hart. My CFO. Brilliant guy. Harvard grad. Clean record. Efficient. Dry sense of humor. I trusted him with every major financial decision in my empire. So did Marcus. So I brushed it off. "She's probably just talking business," I said. Marcus didn't push. But he gave me a look I'll never forget, the look of a man who didn't believe his own lie. I started noticing things. Emily's wardrobe changed subtly, more designer pieces, some I didn't recognize from our shared purchases. One of her handbags, a custom Hermes, was a gift I never gave her. Then there were dinners she claimed were charity meetings, except she didn't come home until 2 a.m., smelling of someone else's cologne. There was a night I couldn't sleep. I scrolled through our smart home's camera logs. One night, I caught her disabling the front camera feed manually. She told me it was a system bug. But she wasn't tech-savvy enough to even know how. I began saving everything. Phone bills. GPS logs from her Tesla. Credit card charges. I created a secret folder called Swan Dive on an encrypted drive. The night I caught them, it wasn't by accident. I came home early from Tokyo. My flight landed at 1:15 a.m. I didn't tell Emily. I wanted to surprise her. I even brought her a rare perfume she'd once mentioned loving as a girl in Paris. The house was dark. Her car was in the garage. I remember the echo of my footsteps in the foyer, the distant hum of music upstairs. Then I heard them. Her voice. Laughter. A man's voice. Daniel. The perfume bottle dropped from my hand and shattered across the marble floor. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I walked out and drove to the old cottage we used to rent before we got rich. I sat there until sunrise, staring at the lake behind it. That's when I made the call to Mason. Mason Lane was former Navy intel, now head of my private security team. He'd seen worse than betrayal. He didn't flinch when I said, "I need surveillance on my wife and CFO." Within a week, he handed me a file. 287 pages. Photos. Messages. Financial transfers. Recordings. Daniel and Emily were not only having an affair, they were plotting a quiet takeover. Emily had been whispering poison into Daniel's ear for months, convincing him I was emotionally unstable, prone to rage, losing my grip on leadership. They had plans. Real plans. She'd encouraged me to name Daniel as interim CEO while I took a sabbatical. She was setting me up. Their goal was simple: remove me, sell off pieces of my companies, cash out, and disappear. They even had fake documents. A fake therapist report. A backup statement from a friend about my supposed breakdown. I remember staring at a photo of them in my home office. Daniel sitting in my chair. Emily on his lap. That's when I stopped being the victim. And started being the weapon. The next 4 months were a chess game. I met with my sister Rachel in New York. She's a tax attorney with an unmatched mind for asset protection. I told her everything. She didn't gasp. Just opened her laptop and started drafting. We moved my personal shares into an irrevocable trust under her control. Formed shell LLCs to shield real estate. Mason brought in a team of cybersecurity experts who secured my systems, combed my records for digital trails they could use against me. Every move was made in silence. I attended board meetings with a calm smile. I took Emily on weekend trips. I invited Daniel to dinners. They thought I was losing grip. They didn't see I was tightening the noose. I even told them I was thinking of writing a memoir. Stepping back to reflect. That made Emily glow. Then came the trap. A company named Blue North Ventures expressed interest in acquiring one of my AI subsidiaries. The catch. Blue North didn't exist. It was a front, crafted by Rachel and a lawyer friend in Toronto. Its founder, Alan Bishop, was actually a retired Broadway actor. We staged a series of meetings. Emily flew in for the final presentation. Mason had every inch of the hotel suite wired. They pitched Alan with confidence, recommending I retire gracefully. Daniel even said, Sam's vision was the spark, but now he's lost in it. I didn't speak. Just watched. After the meeting, they toasted in my suite's private lounge. Emily curled against Daniel, laughing about how easy it had all been. I left quietly and drove straight to the board. The next 48 hours were a blur. Daniel was removed. Lawsuits filed. Federal regulators informed. Emily was served while at brunch with her influencer friends. Her face dropped when she saw Mason walk in. She tried to run. He placed the papers in front of her latte. She called me that night. You don't have to do this. I answered, you already did. But I wasn't done. She tried to claim emotional abuse. Said I was controlling. Claimed she feared me. So I released her emails. Her voice memos. The plan to forge therapist records. The shell companies in her name. The press flipped. Emily was dropped from every brand partnership within 48 hours. Her followers plummeted. She went silent. Daniel tried to file a wrongful termination suit. It was dismissed. My legal team made sure of that. A year passed. I sold the mansion. Donated the money to a tech program for kids in underserved communities. I live in Montana now. Remote. Peaceful. One morning I received a letter. No return address. It was a page from the book I once said I'd write, my memoir. Emily had underlined a sentence. Trust is the currency of kings. Betrayal is the tax. She left no signature. Just a lipstick stain. I smiled. Because she finally understood the price. And I'm still collecting interest. Marcus visits sometimes. He says I should write that book. Turn the story into something people can learn from. Maybe I will. But not yet. For now, I listen to the wind, watch the pines move, and remember what betrayal tastes like. It's bitter. But strangely, satisfying.